This video is going to go over why the INTJs love the ENTJs. I'm sorry, I almost threw up saying that. Let's get straight to the point of this video. ENTJs, you guys are the extroverted, sisterly type to an INTJ. And let's be completely honest, the INTJs, we're the better versions of you. I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. Obviously, I don't believe in a better type. But if you're an ENTJ that has an INTJ in your life, you understand why I said that. The way that the INTJ and ENTJs communicate is that we bicker a lot. We're like that couple who have been married for 60 years, but we've only known each other for like 2 or 3 months. It's fun for us to be able to engage with someone else using TE and knowing that they're not saying it for any malicious intent, but they're just saying what's on their mind. I remember hanging out with my ENTP friend of mine, and she and I, we bicker a lot. We're calling each other dumb, we're calling each other stupid, we're saying someone's ideas not fully thought out. And our INTP friend who was hanging out with us for the very first time, he straight up told me that I was being rude to her. And the moment he said that, we both stopped, looked at each other, and we busted out laughing. The reason why is because if you're an ENTJ and INTJ and you're in any type of relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic relationship, you know that we bicker, not only because it's fun, but if you're in a romantic relationship, it's a form of foreplay for us. What most people don't understand about having NI and TE or TE and NI in our first 2 cognitive function stack is that we're right a lot of the time, but we want to be challenged with the way we think because we want to be wrong. Why would we want to be the best in the room? Because if we're the best in a room, that means we can't learn anymore. Having NI and TE means that when we speak, people listen. And it's very difficult to get opposite opinions if people are willing to listen to us and yet are afraid to confront us. So when you have an ENTJ and INTJ together, most of the time it's not a battle of wits. It's a lot of power dynamics, and it also comes from efficiency. Why are you doing this? That's dumb, you should do it this way. You're wasting your time doing this. Again, from the outside perspective, it may seem like we're arguing, but it's not. It's how we show love towards each other. To provide a little more context in my experience with ENTJs, I was the best man at my ENTJ friend's wedding, and I've tried to pursue a few different ENTJ ladies, which honestly didn't go anywhere. But I'm still friends with a few of them. And before I begin, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to support this channel. Let's begin. I'm just gonna go over a quick story with an ENTJ friend of mine. It was a few years ago, and we've never talked in our entire lives. She was a complete stranger to me. Due to our work schedule, we were eating together in the lunchroom with a bunch of our colleagues. I'd say like 6 to 8 of them. There's this girl on her phone while everyone's talking. And here I am listening to this random person I've never met before. And that person said something dumb. I don't remember what it was. And I just remember smirking for a second by how ridiculous it sounds. And across the table, I remember seeing her smirk as well. The moment we realized that the other person did it, we were like, I know why you did it, you know why I did it, and we busted out laughing. Keep in mind, we've never met each other in our entire lives, but yet we were on the same wavelength because we both realized how ridiculous what that person said was. That story explains the relationship between INTJ and ENTJ. Most of the time, we are able to understand what the other person is doing. We may not agree with it, but we understand. It's interesting, this dynamic that most people don't see, because as an ENTJ or an INTJ, we are natural megalomaniacs. We think we're the smartest person in the room a lot of the time, but at the same time, whenever we're in our negative emotions, whenever we're down, we think like we're the dumbest, most incapable person in the room. It's also really interesting as an INTJ witnessing ENTJs the way you guys engage with other people. You guys having SE in your 3rd slot and us having FI in our 3rd slot means that we learn from each other, and I've noticed how you engage with people. ENTJs are charismatic, something that the stereotype doesn't talk about. It blows my mind that people don't think of it this way. How can someone be a commander if people aren't willing to follow you? That's what ENTJs do. You use your SE to implement your TE and NI vision. And the INTJ, since we have very similar cognitive functions in a very similar order, we're able to see it and we respect it. One of the traits that I admire about ENTJs that most people either hate or are unaware of is how you show you care about people. To the MBTI community, anyone that leads with TE, so the ENTJs or the ESTJs, you guys are seen as scary because you guys make decisions that most people don't want to make. But as an INTJ, whenever I see an ENTJ make a decision that's unpopular or most people would disagree with, I understand that that is necessary. But as an INTJ, I'm also aware that that decision is usually made very hastily and there are other things that should be considered. However, that decision still comes from a good place. Other types don't really understand how we engage with the people we care about. ENTJs listen very well. Whenever someone says that they like something, the ENTJ listens. So the ENTJ may approach that person again in the future and say, hey, I've looked into this, have you tried this? Another way that the ENTJ show love is by pushing the people that they're around. ENTJs are some of the biggest cheerleaders. They're just not emotionally expressive. How they express that they care about you is making sure that you're on a schedule and that you're actively working towards that goal. What they also tend to do as well is that whenever they hear that you're in a roadblock, they're going to unblock you without telling you and without seeking recognition. Something that the INTJ does as well. I also want to make sure that everyone's aware that this is a healthy ENTJ. If you're an unhealthy ENTJ, it's my way or the highway. You either follow me or you don't. Very similar to an unhealthy INTJ. However, since INTJs have FI in their third slot, we typically understand earlier that people shouldn't be treated as dispensable objects. Most of the time when I talk to an ENTJ about their plans, I'm able to see where they want to be. However, I also see things that they're missing. The best way that I can explain an INTJ in most situations is that the INTJ is willing to help someone get from 80% to 100%. Most types out there also needs help from 50% up to 80%. However, for ENTJs, you guys are able to get from 0 to 80 instantly. But you guys have an issue getting from 80 to 100. That's where the INTJ comes in. We're like, hey, you need to work on this because this is what you're missing. That's where the INTJ benefits the ENTJ. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, that's not what the INTJ needs the ENTJ for. What the INTJ needs the ENTJ for is for you to listen to our thoughts, our plans, and tell us, hey, how ridiculous does this sound? We don't need someone to tell us to take action because we have mama extroverted thinking. Therefore, once we figure out our plans, we're gonna execute. We just need someone who is comfortable around us, that respects us enough, that we respect as well, to tell us, hey, that's a dumb idea, or that's a good plan. Because we see so much and engage with life so little, we're not sure whether that plan makes sense. Whereas the ENTJs typically do first and then learn from those mistakes. We balance each other out that way, and the INTJs really do appreciate that. Another specific thing that's beautiful between the ENTJ and INTJ relationship is that we understand our need for accomplishment, which means that we understand if that person needs time alone to do whatever they need to do, and we won't take it personal. The ENTJ friend that I mentioned earlier, the one where I was best man at his wedding, I haven't talked to him for 3 years, but yet he's still my best friend. I talk to the wife way more, the INFJ, and honestly, I think he's too good for her. I'm just kidding. I know she's gonna watch this video, and I'm sorry, I had to make a joke. So the INTJ and ENTJ doesn't need to constantly be attached by the hips. We allow each other to grow, and whenever we need time together, we'll spend it together. Now let's go over the combination whenever the ENTJ and INTJ are working on a project together. I'm gonna say this, and I 100% agree with this. A power couple, the strongest pairing, is an ENTJ and an INTJ. Having NINTE means we're able to see things that most people can't see yet, and having Mama TE means that we're able to execute without external motivation. If the INTJ is unable to accomplish something, the ENTJ will pick up that slack. If the ENTJ is unable to accomplish something, the INTJ can pick up that slack. It is so difficult to type the difference between an INTJ and an ENTJ because we are so similar. INTJ can act as a commander, and the commander, the ENTJ, can act as the architect. It's such an unstoppable pair, and the easiest way that I can explain it is that you're talking to the commander, the general, and the most trusted advisor. And I want to be very, very clear that as an INTJ, no one controls us. We choose who we will advise to. But the ENTJ has proven to us that they're very intelligent people, and they're someone that enjoys the spotlight. INTJs don't really enjoy the spotlight. We just want our minds to be heard. So you have the commander who's in charge, who's taking care of all the people involved. And then you have the INTJ, the advisor, that's taking care of all the unseens. If you ever work with an INTJ, that's why it seems as if the INTJ isn't really working, because we've already taken care of all those issues. And if you work with ENTJ, that's why their Outlook calendar has all these meetings, not only because they're engaging with people, but also because they need reminders to follow up with people, something that INTJs don't really do. To wrap up this portion about the unstoppable force, either the INTJ or ENTJ could come up with this master plan and the other person can help execute. Most of the time, the INTJ wouldn't want to take charge. That's where the ENTJ can come in, and the ENTJ will get the praise because they're working on a plan together. And to make that dynamic even stronger, add in the INTP. The INTP will create something, the INTJ will take that creation and understand the optimal use of it in whatever situation, and the ENTJ is going to lead the charge. And a funny thing that happened recently is that an INTJ friend came to visit, and our ENTJ friend had to leave for work. One of the first conversations that INTP and I had was, shit, the ENTJ is gone. So which one of us is going to make the plans? It's not because we can't make plans. It's that the ENTJ usually makes the plans and then we usually just go with it because we don't care to make plans for everyone. One of the things that INTJs admire most about ENTJs is your tenacity. And as a person who understands cognitive function, I understand that Mama TE for you is the loudest in the room. That you have a list and you need to check off that list, because if you don't check off things from the list, you're not going to operate. And for an INTJ, yes, that list is there, but we just need to get enough done so that we're comfortable. Which is very interesting to me because if you look at it for face value, it sounds as if the ENTJs would be more robotic than the INTJs. But that's not how we're stereotyped. ENTJs are known to just be scary human beings, whereas INTJs are known to be emotionless robots. Which leads me to the final section I want to talk about in this video, which is how the INTJ benefits the ENTJ that most people are unaware of. INTJs have introverted feeling in our third cognitive function stack. ENTJs have FI in their fourth stack. That means the INTJs are more accepting of our internal feelings and make plans based off our feelings. Whereas ENTJs, they try to push back their feelings even more so than INTJs. As an INTJ, I acknowledge that I'm not the best with my emotions. However, I also realize that as an INTJ, I help guide my ENTJs towards their emotional discovery. And it's very small and nuanced things because ENTJs refuse to acknowledge that they're feeling something about something, or they're afraid to engage with their FI because that's when they're not at their best. ENTJs and INTJs have mama TE, which means that if someone were to provide us advice, they have to be reputable one way or another. And as friends, we accept the recommendation from the other person because they have proven that they are intelligent in whatever the topic is. So as an INTJ who has ENTJ friends, I've seen my ENTJs accomplish things that seem insurmountable, and I've also seen ENTJs change their plans completely the moment that they acknowledge FI. ENTJs will never feel comfortable talking about their feelings. It's similar to how INTJs will never truly be comfortable engaging with the outside world, but they're still gonna try if they respect you enough. One of the most heartfelt thank you that I've ever received from an ENTJ is when my ENTJ friend was going through something and we met at a park. We sat down and we didn't say anything. We were just there together. We're both not feeling types, so we're not going to express how we feel. But for most ENTJs, quality time is your love language. Just having someone there, not prying you, is what you need. Similar to an INTJ, when an ENTJ is in a rut, you'll figure out how to get out yourself. But that doesn't mean you don't want the companionship. But as an INTJ, we understand that. We typically like to be alone to figure out answers first and then reach out to people. For an ENTJs, you guys would much rather be around someone while figuring it out, but that person doesn't need to provide any input. So to summarize this video, INTJs respect ENTJs like crazy whenever you are able to accomplish whatever you put your mind to. I admire so much of my ENTJ friends and all they accomplish, regardless of whether it's taking over the world or just taking care of your family. ENTJs watching this video, don't feel like you need to take over the world or a corporation or anything else. That's just a negative stereotype. Take care of what matters to you. Not everything is a competition. You don't have to be the best in the room. And that's all for this video. I really do appreciate the ENTJs. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.